You've probably seen reality TV shows that make you cringe. Families with strange rules, strict parents, extreme lifestyles. But what if one of those families wasn't just unusual? What if it was quietly unraveling? And what if years after the camera stopped rolling, someone from that family committed one of the most shocking crimes you've probably never heard about? This isn't a horror movie plot. This is real. In 2008, the Stockdale family appeared on the ABC reality show Wife Swap. On television, they came across as almost exaggeratedly wholesome. They lived on a farm in rural Ohio. They were a tight-knit bluegrass gospel family band. The children were homeschooled. Their lives revolved around faith, discipline, and structure. There was no cursing, no secular music, no dating, no mainstream entertainment. Everything was filtered through a strict Christian lens. On the episode, they were paired with a much more relaxed family. The cultural clash was immediate. The temporary new mom introduced small freedoms like television, casual language, and modern music. For most viewers, it made for entertaining TV. But one moment stood out. James Stockdale, one of the sons, became visibly distressed. When exposed to these small changes, he didn't react with excitement or rebellion. He ran outside in tears. He was afraid. Afraid that by participating in these freedoms, he was committing sin. Afraid his parents would be angry. Afraid of spiritual consequences. At the time, it just seemed like an extreme example of sheltered upbringing. Something viewers could shake their heads at before moving on to the next episode. 9 years later, that same family home would become a crime scene. On June 15, 2017, deputies responded to a 911 hang-up call from the Stockdale residence in Beach City, Ohio. When officers arrived, they heard a single gunshot from inside the house. They entered and found 25-year-old James Stockdale suffering from a gunshot wound to the head. He was still alive. In other parts of the home, they discovered two bodies. His mother, Kathryn Stockdale, age 54, and his younger brother, James, age 21. Both had been shot and killed. Investigators quickly determined that Jacob had shot his mother and brother before turning the gun on himself. He survived the attempt. There were no immediate reports of prior domestic violence calls. No documented history of law enforcement repeatedly visiting the home. From the outside, there had been no warning signs that something this catastrophic was coming. When questioned, Jacob did not provide a clear explanation. Authorities publicly admitted they did not know the motive. There was no dramatic manifesto, no obvious triggering event revealed to the public. Just a devastating act of violence and silence afterward. The surviving family members released brief statements expressing grief. They described James as bright and well-liked. They described Kathryn as devoted to her family and faith. They asked for prayers. But beyond that, there was little public discussion about what might have led to that day. Jacob was charged with 2 counts of murder. His defense initially entered a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, and he spent time undergoing psychiatric evaluation and treatment. The case moved slowly through the court system. Eventually, in 2021, Jacob pleaded guilty to the murders. He was sentenced to 2 concurrent terms of 15 years to life in prison, meaning he will serve decades behind bars before being eligible for parole. And still, the central question lingers: why? Some observers have speculated that years of extreme isolation and rigid control may have contributed to psychological strain. Others believe there may have been underlying mental health issues that went untreated or unnoticed. But there has never been a definitive public explanation tying a clear cause to the violence. What makes this story so unsettling is the contrast. On television, the Stockdales represented discipline, faith, and old-fashioned values. They were memorable for being different, strict, even quirky. But the cameras only captured 2 weeks. They didn't show the long-term emotional landscape inside that home. They didn't show the internal struggles, private tensions, or hidden vulnerabilities. Reality television didn't cause this tragedy, but it preserved a snapshot of a family the public thought it understood. Years later, that snapshot feels haunting, because we realize now that even when a family seems united and devout and tightly structured, we are only seeing the surface. Behind every carefully presented image can be pressures, fears, and struggles that no audience can fully grasp. And in this case, whatever was building beneath the surface eventually erupted in a way that destroyed a family forever. Jacob Stockdale remains in prison. Kathryn and James lost their lives. And the episode of Wife Swap that once seemed like harmless entertainment now sits in the background of one of reality television's darkest, real-life aftermaths.